2 o'clock time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, Lauren Brooks, Taylor Dahl, and Tom McManus. This is
Helmets and Heels.
Helmets and Heels on 1010XL.
Big Jaguars news today as the Jaguars re-signed Matt Dickerson and DJ Dallas, the defensive lineman and the running back, respectively. I'm only really half joking when I say big news. It's really, I think, exciting that the Jaguars had some guys that they did want to keep. No, these are not the marquee names of the Devin Lloyd and Travis Etienne's that we've been discussing, but how many times have we said they have to improve the defensive line? Well, at least retaining Dickerson, I think, is helpful.
Yeah, I thought when he got his opportunities, he performed pretty well. He was around the football, had some pass rush moves, was pretty stout against the run. You know, that's that floor that, you know, James the Stoner is talking about, you know, raising the floor of all the backups, the guys that play roles that come in and when needed, they perform at the level that's expected of them. So good signings for them, you know, and those guys, you know, they were picked by him and then they keep them. So that's a good thing. They're hitting on both them.
Yeah, we've mentioned Matt Dickerson's name a few times the last few weeks when we're talking about mainly depth, but just in general, guys that came in and made plays when they needed to this year. And you got him later in the year, but he still came in and had some impactful moments. I think I ended up the total, I want to say, is tackle for loss, 10 tackles, a pass breakup, like a few. I mean, in a quick amount of time was making plays on the ball, to your point, Tommy. And I think that's where you talk about, you want always, when it gets around this time, you look at the splash names. I mean, Miami releasing Tyreek Hill, those Bradley Chubb, like those are the names that are splash names. But you have to build your depth, and that's a big thing. We saw this last year when guys start to go down. You need the guys that can step into roles and fill them in pretty quickly. And Dickerson was one of those guys that was able to, at least later. DJ Dallas, I think when you talk about return game, he's more involved in that role, and that's important. We saw also how big special teams were when it came to the Super Bowl this year. All of the rounds, NFC Championship game. Both the special teams were huge in that factor, and so I think it's good to have guys that you can count on there too.
And look, if Etienne's not here, maybe DJ's, you know, the pass catching, running back out of the backfield. You know what I mean? We'll have to see. But, you know, you think about it that way, just a key ingredient to the return game and to backing up and maybe playing a role in the offense, you know. Again, guys, we're you know, during the year, whatever, they targeted them, went after them, got them. There are guys, we like them. They proved that we were right. They were, you know, they made some plays for us. It looks like they should at least come back, have another shot at trying to make this team, and you know, hopefully, you know, playing some good roles in 2026 for them.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously are looking to upgrade it in every area. If you told me that adding DJ Dallas but subtracting Travis Etienne to the running back room is
the game plan,
it, I would be.
But that would be only,
concerned.
you know, you have to factor in what are they doing on the other side too in that regard. You know, they can't keep everybody, right?
Sure.
So that would mean then maybe they're keeping Lloyd, you know, or maybe they're whatever they end up doing.
How do you finish the puzzle?
Yeah. At the end of the day, but. Good signings. Look, again, raising the floor, you know, just making sure our depth is quality, you know, players that can step in and start for us, you know, come in and play pivotal roles when called upon. So happy for those guys. Congrats to them.
And Dickerson started the last 4 games of the season.
Yeah.
He was around the ball. Listen, he was he definitely stood out from time to time. Not all the time, you know, wasn't like a big splash kind of guy, but he was getting in the backfield. You could see that. You could see him beating the guy in front of him on a rush here and there. He was pretty stout against the run. That didn't see him get knocked back. You know, those kind of things stand out in your D lineman. You know, you get knocked back 5-10 yards.
Yeah,
like you just notice that. You're like, I don't know, you know. But no, he was pretty stout in that regard. So they still need more work. They know it. But that's a good signing for them to, you know, at the very minimum, he's on the team and playing some kind of role for us.
Yeah, and DJ Dallas, I remember I want to say it was against the Colts. He had like a couple catches, and that was probably the most memorable as far as playing running back. And then obviously, like you said, special teams too. But I just feel like James Gladstone, anytime you're going to see re-signings moving forward, these are guys that they're familiar with. Obviously, the coaching staff is, and they know that the type of personality that they are. You mentioned the Dolphins and releasing the 4 different guys that they did, but those 2 bigger names in Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb. Tyreek Hill has the injury, so I think it's in question if he's even going to play next
This season, yeah.
But even if he didn't have the injury, I still don't know that he's the type of person that the Jaguars would bring in because of the off the field stuff.
Well, and you talked about that last week, Lauren. You said, do you think they get a little bit away from that if you know it's a player that could come back? And like Tyreek's situation is different. Let's say Tyreek was 100% healthy. I don't know if the Dolphins would just release him then if that's the case, but it looks like he may not be able to play this season, or at least for a large majority of the season. Let's say you're not talking about that. Do you let some things slide and feel like your culture right now is someone that can handle some of these guys that have some of the off the field issues? And Tyreek, I feel like he's not Antonio Brown, where, it's all of these crazy things. There's a lot of kids, and he'll talk bad about his quarterback sometimes when he's frustrated. And obviously he got arrested, but then still scored a touchdown against the Jags or almost got arrested. And so there's little things, but he's not like, to me, somebody like you're scared he's going to walk off midfield in the middle of a game because he's absolutely insane. And so I wonder if you push the limit a little bit with some of these guys moving forward, if you know they're instantly could impact your offense or defense in a good way, because you have now what feels like building this culture that has good locker room, good guys around. And so does that make some of these guys like act a little better? I mean, you talk about it, and Antonio Brown's one of those guys. When he was in Pittsburgh, it was towards the end of that, like after he got traded, all the crazy things started happening. Same with Le'Veon Bell. Like there was something in Pittsburgh that kind of keeps these guys in control for the most part. And then when they would leave there and not have Mike Tomlin is when things started going crazy. Do you have that type of environment here in Jacksonville? Has Gladstone and Baselli and Coen and Coach Camp built that type of environment? Because if so, then maybe you take some risk on guys that you think could drastically change. I don't think Tyreek is, in general, if you may feel like your pass catching room right now is good enough and you don't need to risk that, especially with injury and things like that. But if it was some edge rusher, if we were talking about an edge rusher that has a little bit of off the field things, do you kind of, look away a tad bit thinking you have the culture to change that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that's the magic of it all, right?
Yeah.
Can your locker room handle somebody that might be a little bit off, a little edgier than we like? To be there. But then it'll just come down. Can they bring him in? Can they swallow him up? Can they make sure that, he just does things the right way? Don't want to change who he is. He is who he is. On the field, obviously, you don't want too many bad things happening off the field. I think with Tyreek, I mean, look, you could make Travis Hunter into the next Tyreek Hill. He's got that kind of ability. I'm sure we're going to talk about him playing defense and all that, which I think's great. Mm-hmm. And Tyreek with money, I don't know where that would fit. I for one I would just keep the receivers the way they are. Maybe draft a young kid, mm-hmm. In the third round or something like that has some good skills. But I think there's more to do on this team and needed. Chubb would be interesting. He
Mm-hmm.
had the injury, then was out, and then I think he had 8.5 sacks for the
Mm-hmm.
Dolphins last year.
He did.
Can you find the right price for him and add that to the lineup? That would be fun to watch. It's interesting. They got rid of Jalen Phillips, right,
Mm-hmm.
earlier in the year, and then they're just unloading everybody. Yeah, they're unloaded everybody. But yeah,
when you have to save $67 million, then know that you're in bad cap. Space.
Yeah, no doubt. But to your point, do they have that kind of locker room? That's what we would find out if they brought in a guy.
Yeah.
Like what if they went after, who can we use, like a George Pickens, who's been, he's not a bad guy, I don't think. He doesn't get in trouble off the field, but he can be problems in the locker room or problems amongst his teammates from whatever.
Yeah. A.J. Brown, another example.
Can you bring him in and hey, man, everything's, be cool. Play your gas off, be you, but, we got to do things a certain way around here under certain rules. And, we all do them and it's all good and you'll fit right in type of thing, and the leadership will do that,
Right. The stars on this team, I would say, are squeaky clean. Would you agree with that? Like Trevor Lawrence and Josh Hines-Allen, as far as great.
I think so. I mean, you don't hear anything about them. So, yeah.
Great family men. Yeah. There's never any stories of anything going on, that you would inappropriate I've never heard anything close to that.
Neither of those guys are their guys either, though. Those are former regime drafted guys, and do we start to see that shift a little bit of not so much, and not saying there's this balance. You had a bunch of those type of guys in 2017 and it imploded the next year because there were so many of those personalities on there. You do have to have a balance of it, and I think that right now you don't. I don't know who on this team you would kind of label in that category of having that a little extra edge to them. I'm not sure. Maybe Jarian. Like Jarian kind of has that.
Got the swag.
Yeah, like maybe. But he's the only him and maybe Jordan Lewis too, because you saw some. We've seen glimpses of it with Jordan here, but previous to being in Jacksonville, there was a lot of him, kind of getting into it with player, and this not off the field, but just kind of that energy that is added during a game or on the field. But so it'll be interesting to see moving forward if you just step away, because sometimes you need, Philly did it. Philly took a lot of risk with some of these defensive guys.
Players.
Yeah, all the Georgia guys that they've drafted.
They drive too fast.
And it's defensively they got it stacked over there on that side of the ball, and you have to have the right people surrounding to make sure it works. And you don't need too many of that personalities, because that's when you see what happened after 2017, and it all just kind of blew up.
Yeah, well, they became individuals.
Yeah.
They all wanted to get paid, and they didn't want to listen to anybody, and they thought they were the team, and then it imploded. That's the thing about success. It's hard to maintain it if your guys get, their heads up in the clouds and up their backside and think they're worth more than they really are, and they forget their place in the team. They forget they're a part of the team, and the team helps you be who you are and helps your brand and all that kind of stuff. That's you got to have the right people in place for that, you would think, and that's where it comes in, like the same thing we're talking about, that call it culture, call it the environment with Tony and such. They wouldn't bring in players that, don't fit the mold,
Right.
that don't fit what they're looking for and what they want to represent on and off the field. I know with Baselli, at least, we all, because we're all kind of cut from a similar cloth, we always love tough guys on the field, no doubt. Gentlemen off that know how to handle themselves off the field. It's like a proud dad, like if you have a son. You don't want him being a bully, don't want him getting in trouble, but if he's got to get in a beef, you're a little proud when he can handle himself. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. Always a gentleman off, but an animal on, on the field and off the field. So I think those are the guys, and you can tell that listen to Liam talk with his F-bombs. These are the kind of people that they want. They want the street tough, the field tough, but good, solid people.
And look, I'm not knocking Trevor and Josh Hines Allen as far as being squeaky clean. That's a I would say a good thing when it comes to being good family men. They both got married young, right? Had children young. So I'm not knocking that. But yeah, when we talk about just some players with the maybe that have crossed the line in the past, would they bring them in? Certainly this offseason will go at least a little bit to tell us that. We'll have to go probably years upon years to really put all of the data together. All right, let's talk about Travis Hunter on the other side. Talk a little bit about the quote unquote news over the weekend that wasn't really news, but we'll break that down. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday, 10 to XL 92.5 FM.
Dan Hicken.
Last night he's swimming in Jack Daniels, so now he can lead tall buildings in a single bound.
Jeff Prosser.
What if this is as good as it gets?
They are the drill.
We call it the place to be. The place to be.
Mornings on 1010 XL.
Helmets and Heels.
Protected by
Green Law Group. For the insured. Fighting for you.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville, here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
We know exactly what you're not thinking about right now. Wiper blades. But now that you are, take a moment to think about how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America. Why? Because Rain-X thinks about wiper blades all the time. We obsess, so you don't have to. Simply install our blades and then think about literally anything else. So choose Rain-X, America's #1 wiper blades. and then go back to not thinking about wiper blades. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
Here's hoping for a Raise the Roof football season. And here's knowing Next Gen Roofing is up for any job. Game day or storm season, you need a team you can trust. And you know what? You don't need a glitzy roofing company. No shortcuts, no gimmicks, no nonsense. Solid roofs at competitive prices and a commitment to the First Coast community. Right now, save up to $300 on your next roof replacement. When you need a roof, you need Next Gen Roofing. Team with you, it's a win every time.
If you love the Jags, if you crave the NFL, we make a show for you. It's Jaguars Today with experts and insiders. Locked down by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors. 10 to noon weekdays on 1010XL.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, company mascot at your service.
There are 2 important steps to installing the perfect garage floor. The 2-stage coating application? Sure. But nothing is more important than preparing the floor. Our team uses diamond grinding machines to grind your floors to a smooth, level finish. Only then can we...
Hold on! You grind garage floors with perfectly lovely diamonds?
No, Chester. We grind floors to perfection using the very best ugly diamonds. Too ugly for jewelry, but perfect for the grinding pads we use to prep the surface.
Perfect preparation and application. Now that's a perfect marriage.
Ugly diamonds?
Check. Perfect preparation?
Check. Smooth, gorgeous, gleaming floors that really catch your eye? Checkmate!
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit checkmatecoatings.com.
If you're listening to 1010 and you're a parent, chances are your kids are playing sports. Check out i9sports.com with spring and summer registration open right now. In the gym or on the field, and now at Tocoi Creek High School and Westside Middle. Check it out, i9sports.com.
Are high-interest credit cards and other loans sucking the life out of your finances? It's time to say no more. Let Loan Pronto tap the equity on your home and get the cash you need now so you can pay it all off. Hey, it's Prosser here. Corey and Jack called Loan Pronto in a matter of days. They had $160,000. They kept their 3% mortgage intact, didn't even need an appraisal, and with all that cash, they wiped out all their credit cards and 2 car loans, saving $2,000 a month. You can do it too. LoanPronto.com. The rapid equity loan program can get you $100,000, $200,000, even $500,000 in cash. Chloe and Ethan just did it. Consolidated all their high-interest debt into one super low monthly payment, giving them an extra $1,000 a month. Imagine. Pay off all the credit cards, slash your monthly payments, breathe easier. Get your life back. Interest rates are at 3-year lows. Call Loan Pronto today, 904-999-1500. That's 904-999-1500, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Big Chief Tire Monday. My brakes are starting to squeak, so you can bet your bottom dollar I'll be headed to Big Chief Tire to get those brakes looked at. You can find them online and make appointments at WeKeepJacksRollin.com. All right, so after the season, James Gladstone, Liam Coen met with media, and it was more of a press conference, I feel like, to hear from Gladstone over Liam, because Liam had kind of wrapped up his thoughts when the Jaguars lost to the Bills. But James Gladstone, of course, was asked a myriad of things, and one of the things being about, of course, Travis Hunter. Will he play both sides of the ball? And James Gladstone said yes. And then he said, but also when you look at our roster, we have a more primary need at cornerback than we do at receiver. Because, oh, by the way, he traded for a receiver midseason, right? So over the weekend, Cameron Wolfe had, I think it was on Friday actually, of NFL Insiders, had this to say about what the Jags' plan is with Travis Hunter.
Ian, let's start the Wolf of Wall Street in Jacksonville, where they're coming off a magical season, and they think 2026 can be even better because they get their unicorn back. Travis Hunter is expected to be 100% full go by week 1. He had surgery on the LCL in his knee. He will play both sides again in 2026. The big change may come in the usage. From what I understand, they plan to play him as a full-time cornerback, a part-time receiver, which is a switch from last year when he played more than double of his snaps at receiver than cornerback. I hear fantasy football fans groaning. They think Travis Hunter can be elite at cornerback and still be an impact player on offense. They also have Monteric Brown and Greg Newsome, cornerbacks, about to be free agents. They're expected to let at least one of those cornerbacks walk in free agency so Travis Hunter can have that starting spot there. So still a huge impact player for the Jags, just different than what it looked like his rookie season.
I think everyone would be shocked if Greg Newsome is back for 2026.
Yeah.
Lester Brown, we've had conversations. But yeah, Travis Hunter, he obviously is healthier obviously now than when it came to, what was that, October that he got hurt, right? Again, right before the Raiders game in that practice. And I guess I'm confused as to how this became a news story over the weekend when we had already had this conversation. But the good news is Travis Hunter, I think they finally realized, like, let's play him more at one position instead of trying to be 50-50.
Yeah, and look, we need him at corner for the team. Like, if you said, what do we need him more at? You'd say corner. You'd say, could he take the other team's number one or number two wide receiver week after week after week as called upon? Yep. Maybe they play him on one side or the other, depending on the week and the matchup. But can he be that for him? And then throw in, 10 plays on offense or whatever it ends up being. I don't, it's funny. Now, I know, look, a lot of people are going to hold Stoner's comments to, hold him to the fire about he's going to transcend football. He's going to be two-way play. I don't care about that stuff. I just care what's best for the team. And I think he's best at starting at corner. He's shown he can press. He's shown he can play man. He can play bump and run. He can play zone if you need him to. Obviously, I can't wait to see him in blitz packages. That speed is just going to be unbelievable coming at that quarterback. Just what he's going to be able to do on the defense side of the ball. And then you're still going to see him on offense. I look at it, I say, you know what? He's going to remind us of a modern day Deion Sanders. I mean, what did Deion do, right? At the end, right? He'd play corner and then he'd go down the field 5, 6, 7 times. I would add a little bit more with Travis because he is that dynamic with the football in his hands. But yeah, I'm even if he did full-time corner, I don't care about – I don't personally care. I know there are other people that do, and that's fine. But I don't care about what you traded up to get to him and the things you said and la, 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 la. I just want wherever he is at is best for the team. And right now, playing corner, the kind of corner that I envision is best for the team. And maybe best for him as well. Maybe best for him.
Yeah, if he can become that lockdown corner and eventually not just a Pro Bowler but an All-Pro, I don't think at that point in time you wasted the trade.
No. Yeah, I think two things can be true. I think that you can say it was probably an overpay, but who cares is how I feel about it. I think in 5 years you may look and be like, yeah, maybe you gave up a little too much because you look at the other teams and who they've gotten with that amount of capital. And it was like a Khalil Mack and when you talk about some of Michael Parsons, like those are two of the names that you've heard getting the kind of draft capital that the Jags gave up for Travis Hunter. So, but I don't care if he ends up being what you think he can be at corner and package him into whatever they're doing offense. I don't even care about that side at this point. If you feel like you're getting a true lockdown corner that's going to be on this team for a long time and you saw glimpses of that, you want to see more. And I think that's some of the thing. I don't know if you truly even got to see really what Travis Hunter could fully be on when it comes to that cornerback position last year because the injury happened in October and because you really felt like things were just starting to settle in. They were still trying to figure out what they were doing with Travis Hunter at that time. They were forcing, I think, the offense a little bit too much. He had, it was like over 60% offensive of his snaps were offensive and the 30-something% were defensive. So to me, I do think they were trying to force the offense too much, but that's because the offense was struggling early. So they wanted to try and see what they could get out of him offensively and they wanted to get something going. And then as soon as the offense started clicking, he was injured by that point. So you really didn't get to see him shift to the defensive side of the ball and be that true corner, what you would want him to see. So it doesn't bother me. I'm not one of those people who will ever be like, oh, you wasted these draft picks or you shouldn't have traded up or whatever the case may be. If you're getting what could be one of the better corners in the NFL, then I think it's worth it. And that conversation doesn't even need to be one down the road. And
we won't know until it's been 10 years.
And that's and by then, I mean, so many things will happen between now and then that it's not even going to be talked about. Maybe if he gets injured, hopefully not again, but if he gets hurt again this year and misses a good portion and people start to being like, see, okay, like this isn't going to work. And that's when you'll start probably having concerns, but I don't think so because this injury wasn't like he got hit and couldn't handle a hit. We've talked about that a ton. And I think that's something, but I do think that it to me, it's more personnel wise. To your point, Tommy, they're making this decision because they're saying corner is our biggest need. That's also what he did the best in college. So why not lean into that this year and let him truly shine at his strongest position because you're more confident on the offensive side of the ball. If Parker didn't have the season he had and, we're still having issues with BTJ, maybe that conversation's a little different and maybe you say you do need him to be a part of this offense. But right now what it looked like at the end of the year was your offense looked good. Parker had a really great season. Jacoby coming in here was who's Brenton Strange. You're hoping BT towards the end started kind of getting back to what you would be able to see in the deep threat. So have that next year, and now your concern is corner. So let him feed into that.
Well, and a guy like Travis at corner, that makes you more suffocating like Seattle. That helps you close out games. That helps you rush, get to the QB. You can even get more creative with blitzing with the other guys if you got a DB like that can lock it down.
And it also affects the game plan that the opposing offense puts together, right? Like the Jackson Smith and Jigba may not get over 100 yards if Travis Hunter is the guy that's on him. And to your point, he may not necessarily always play one guy. He may play sides. But either way, it's still going to reduce the amount that star receiver is going to get. But look, I get it. Liam Coen was a first-year head coach. What is his side of the ball? Offense. I am sure that was part of the conversation. It wasn't just James Gladstone looked and said, well, we have a guy that could maybe play both ways in the NFL. Let's try it, right? I'm sure that they studied it. He is an elite corner at the collegiate level. And Liam Cohen's like, but this shiny new toy that we're going to trade
Could
up
be really
for,
fun.
You're telling me that as a playmaker, I'm not going to have him? And we saw certainly some of the yards after the catch that Travis Hunter could get and his explosiveness and the way that he could catch the ball. It was unbelievable in those moments for sure. So I'm sure that, Liam Coen had a hand in what he was going to do. And that's why Liam worked meticulously to create the schedule for Travis Hunter. And then, like you said, it ended up going a little bit off the rails because, yes, he had a good game against the Rams?
The Rams.
Yeah. And
he was just coming into his own offense.
But of course, no one's really going to remember that because that game was so lopsided.
Yeah. Someone from the text line brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures 4601 made a good point too. He said, wasn't the value of the pick what's happening right now? If you need a receiver, he can be a receiver. If you need a corner, he could also be a corner. And then you can emphasize one of those and be the backup to the other, which that's a good point because we said the whole time, like he can do both. And the offensive side, it can be really fun and flashy and he can do cool things, but he's a better corner. So here you have this guy. But we also said if you lose him, then you're losing two positions. And that was the conversation from the beginning. So you kind of saw both sides of that this year, that you did have a guy when your offense was struggling that you could plug and play into the offense. And you had a guy that in times when you really needed something to happen on defense, you could throw him on that side. But then you saw a guy that when you lost it, all of a sudden you lost a wide receiver and a corner. And so that is, I think, what they're probably leaning into is just that his positional strength is corner, and you also need that. You don't have the personnel right now to go into that. You don't know. This is obviously free agency and draft, so who knows which way they go if things start to shift a little bit, if they get a star corner or whatever the case may be. But right now it just feels like the most logical option. So to your point at the top of this, it was like breaking news to everybody else on Twitter, but we were all like, oh, okay.
Unless something's changed and it hasn't. Yeah, I didn't understand that.
I'd put him out there on long punt returns too, just for give Parker a little rest and see what the the young man can do. That speed, I mean, when he hits it, forget about it. Like, who's going to catch him if he gets even just a tiny crease?
But you'd really hate, I think I've said this every time you say that, I come back with, but you'd hate to get him injured in that.
He got injured on practice.
Yeah,
I mean, you can get injured anywhere.
For sure. And like we talked about, he played more snaps than anyone else in college. So what exactly was that going to look like health-wise? But
you'd be in the flow of the game. It wouldn't be like you're cold off the bench trying to return. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think that would be exciting for the fans. It would be exciting for the team. And if you had that in your back pocket, as a weapon, that'd be pretty sweet.
For sure. I just always get nervous about the return men and the full speed of guys coming at them. By the way, did y'all see that Travis and his wife and their son were in one of the Caribbean islands this past weekend? And Travis now has tattoos of his wife's face,
see that.
his son's face, and then some new tattoos on his one of his legs as well.
I did see that. Pictures of wife on one side and baby on the other.
Yeah.
I wonder if he stays. There's a new thing. It depends how big the tattoos. Like they put you under.
Yeah.
So you know.
I don't know. This one was only the chest, so I don't think usually the ones you see that are like the full back. Like they get their entire back done in one sitting.
While we're sitting here, I don't think that those would necessarily have required
that. Looks cool.
But
it does.
Yeah,
but I don't know that I want.
I like tattoos.
That body type playing both sides and special teams. I just don't know that he's built for all three of those.
Listen, he look when you first saw him, he looks thin.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, holy cow, he's thin, but he's strong and he's pretty combative, man. I was again really impressed with the way he could get up on receivers and battle them at the line of scrimmage, be very physical with them. And
you think Dion had to have taught him that, right?
I mean, he did coach him. I'm sure he gave him some, some tips and whatnot. He just, he's a natural at that. And listen, whatever the rhetoric is today, as we go along this season, who knows? I like that they're saying he's our corner because I want him to be our corner. How much they use him on offense, that may vary and change throughout a season.
Game to game, for sure. Know what I mean? Or, depending on how things look. All right, so we talked a little bit about adding pass rush last week with Trey Hendrickson. Cam Wolf has an update on him. We'll get to that on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on Tintinix on 92.5 FM.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Fought for you by Green Law Group on 1010 Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
Not everyone is built for a cubicle. At Local 234, apprentices get paid to learn hands-on skills like plumbing, pipe fitting, HVAC, the stuff Jacksonville runs on. No endless lectures, no massive student debt, just hands-on training, real jobs, and real pay. This is how you level up, by doing work that actually matters. Check them out at UA234.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Local 234. Make the right connection.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. The local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
This is the kind of sandwich you don't rush. French dip at Firehouse Subs. Premium roast beef loaded with caramelized onions, melted provolone cheese, and topped with Italian seasoning. Stacked on a toasted garlic bread roll with hot au jus for dipping. For a limited time at Firehouse Subs.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. Triumph did a really cool thing last year, Greg. They went off-road. What's happening with Triumph?
Well, not only did they go off-road, they threw all the chips on the table. Ricky Carmichael personally developed this motorcycle for them. So if you haven't seen the Ricky Carmichael 450, you need to come see it. Also just released some Enduros this year. They've got a full lineup. You're going to love them.
Talking Triumph, the latest off-road Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency. Check out cyclesofjacksonville.com.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
When you're faced with damage in your home from water, fire, or mold, you need a team with the expertise to fix it right.
Resto Pros!
A locally owned, nationally backed franchise that's here to help you when you need them. A team that does it right the first time.
Resto Pros!
Remember, you don't have to use the insurance company's preferred contractors. Get it done right by a licensed professional you can trust. Call 904-201-9151 or go to RestoProsAnyFlorida.com. That's RestoProsAnyFlorida.com.
Resto Pros!
I'm Chris Folds with First Coast Habitat for Humanity. Because of the players, we're empowering families to build better futures through home ownership and building homes, communities, and hope. It's 22 days until the Players' Championship.
What NFL quarterback connected on TD passes with 98 different players during his career?
For over 20 years, Southern Oak Insurance has given Floridians a better alternative to their current homeowners policy. See what you can get with Southern Oak. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Tom Brady threw 105 touchdown passes to Rob Gronkowski, but there are 97 other players who caught at least one.
Southern Oak Insurance, our family protecting yours.
Hey, Googans, Hicken here, and I just want to once again give you this very simple reminder. Wear sunscreen. If you're outside a lot, bring the screen. Put some in your truck, on your boat, in your golf bag, whatever, wherever, just use it. Please. It's hot out there, and I just want you to protect yourself. I use it like it's cool because I think it is, but what's not cool, that's skin cancer. You don't want to deal with that. Go get yourself checked out. It could save your life. Go to beachesdermatology.com and schedule your appointment today. That's beachesdermatology.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Taylor Dell, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Big Chief Tire Monday. By the way, Hacker Nation will have Cameron Wolfe on his show later tonight. So if you want to hear directly from him. Yeah, it's funny. I'm using one of his clips, kind of making fun, saying that's not news. And then the other clip, I'm like, all right, when it comes to Trey Hendrickson, I can't wait to hear about the news, which maybe Bengals media reporters are saying this isn't news to us either. But here's Cam Wolfe on Bengals defensive standout Trey Hendrickson.
Next, let's go to Cincinnati, where Trey Hendrickson is their big free agency decision there. And from what I understand, team source told me he figures it's unlikely for these two sides to reunite going into next season. And so what does that mean? Do the Bengals let him go in free agency? Do they try to slap the franchise tag on him and trade him? A difficult decision for Cincy because their relationship has not been great in recent weeks. And I'm told that if this deal does end up happening free agency-wise, keep an eye on the Indianapolis Colts. It's a team that wants to be aggressive. They made the big splash move for Sauce Gardner mid-season. Lou Anarumo has a lot of familiarity with Trey Hendrickson. They just hired a D-line coach named Marion Hobby, who coached Trey Hendrickson for 4 years in Cincinnati. When they were all together, Lou, Marion, and Trey Hendrickson, they had 57 sacks in 4 seasons, 4 Pro Bowl seasons. They're going to be aggressive in trying to get him if he does reach the market, or even if it's a signing trade. Could be a big splash move for the Indianapolis Colts. And for Cincinnati, they're going to look at a lot more volume pickups on defense to get better with a group that just wasn't good enough to compete in 2025.
Yeah, so the news item there to me would be that the Colts would be in on Trey Hendrickson. No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I've heard a ton of people that was one of the biggest weaknesses of the Colts last year. And I remember around trade deadline time, there were a lot of chatter of even Trey Hendrickson. If the Max Crosby stuff was going on, it was Micah Parsons at that time, obviously. And
DeForest
the Colts,
Buckner was hurt, and he's usually really good.
And that's something that they talked a ton about. Even when they ended up trading for Sauce Gardner, a lot of Colts fans were like, cool, but we need a pass rusher. Like, that's kind of where we would have rather spent that capital on a pass rusher. So I'm not surprised because I have heard Hendrickson's name linked to him a lot today. When the Bradley Chubb news came out, immediately I was seeing Colts' name attached to somebody like a Chubb also. So I would not be surprised if they try and make some move to get a big name pass rusher.
Yeah, well, Hendrickson's a game changer, as we all know. You know, I don't want him going anywhere in the AFC South unless it's here in Jacksonville. It just doesn't look like you can make that work, no matter how many guys you restructure and open. But I'd take him. If I could, I would. I tell you that much. And that means anybody would be on the table except my QB. You know what I mean? To get a deal done on this team, if we got a Trey Hendrickson, in my opinion. He's just that kind of pass rusher. Chubb would help them too, but Chubb, he'd be great here. Obviously, we're going to have to figure that out. I know the draft has good edges up until a certain point. Mm-hmm. Can we get inside whatever they are, 6, 7, 8 of them, in those round, whatever rounds they fall into? I think we do need a situational, just a real traditional pass rushing type defensive end to add to the mix. And that doesn't mean you have to get rid of everybody. It doesn't have to be a Hendrickson, but I would personally figure out some way. I don't know. To me, now they could tag him, then I'm out. I wouldn't trade for him. I would not give up draft picks for him. He's too late in his career. Would I pay him for a couple years? Mm-hmm. I would. Now, would I make him the highest paid? I don't know about the highest paid, but I make sure he's paid handsomely, and with the idea that he's going to return. The return on that investment is going to be quite high.
Yeah, it's tricky with Hendrickson because I feel like 1-year deals would be what he's going to get now because of his age at this point in time.
And injuries.
Right. And then Chubb maybe
but a 2-year deal would just protect you a little bit more. Sure. That's all. You know what I mean? So whether he stays here for a year or not, you spread it out over 2. But he's that kind of player. And that, to me, now look, think about this. You add Travis Hunter as our corner, and you add a pass rusher like that. That's a true difference maker in the pass rushing game. Now you're talking, man. That's a championship defense waiting to happen.
Oh, yeah. In that sense, because you've talked a lot, Tommy, in general, about having that rotation on the line, because that's what Seattle had, is a lot of guys that they could move up there. But would you, in that case, be like you'd want Trayvon inside a lot? Or okay.
Yeah. I'm not taking Trayvon off the field.
Yeah.
If anybody's coming off the field, it would be probably Devon or Eric, depending on what down and distance and that type of thing, and if they're all still here. But no, I would put him. And Trey doesn't have to be. And I know it's a lot of money for a situational guy, but I don't really care if he comes off the bench and gets you 15 sacks or 10, 12 sacks, whatever it may be, and gets you to that defense where you are, closing people out, you're choking them out, you're shutting them down, your offense gives you the lead, you're not giving it up because you have that kind of pass rush, that kind of defense. That's what gets you to the big show.
I mean, that's who those types of defenses are who have won the Super Bowl the last 2 years. And so, when you talk about is this team in the championship window, how far away is this team from a team that has won the Super Bowl? Those are the types of things, and having that intimidating defense that can get off the field. And yes, the takeaways this past season were phenomenal. To go from 9 total to over 30 is an unbelievable feat. But if you had added more sacks to that, then we aren't talking, I don't think, about the Jaguars losing in the wild card round of the Bills.
Yeah, I was listening to Primetime earlier, and they were going through those sack numbers because obviously Myles Garrett this year had 23 sacks, and you had to get down to 6 Jags totaled sacks to get to that one number.
Yeah, Trayvon Walker, obviously, with just 3.5 this year, is the killer there.
Down year.
Very down year. He had 2 seasons of back-to-back double-digit sacks, and so that's what you expected again, and then you expected Josh Hines-Allen to have more than 8.
Yeah, and the injury hurt him. I mean, he had 2 injuries, so that was the one with his hand.
Trayvon had the club on his hand, and then the knee injury.
The knee, right. I mean, look, he's a beast, especially when he just has to use his power, and speed, and not necessarily has to work on any kind of, pass rush, type moves. But, look, I think if you can really shore that up, and you're going to have to make a sacrifice somewhere along the line, you still may, right? And that may just be Devin leaving, letting him walk. You know how I feel about that. Again, we went through this exercise. Well, if you went after Trey Hendrickson, you can't keep Devin. Can Ventrell do it? We all think he could do it, at least to a certain degree. Maybe not as much as rush it after the passer, but maybe you don't need him to when you got a guy that rushes the passer as well as a Trey Hendrickson type. And that would be I don't see them doing, I'm not sitting there trying to push them to do that, but he's a kind of guy that would change things instantly for this defense. They now become a defense to really look out for, right? We're almost there. I mean, we are almost there. And by the way, those takeaways, a lot of those came with what? Pressure. Right? So early on, we were getting after it big time. And then it faded a little bit, right? Then it got to be where, okay, now you guys aren't consistent. You have a good series or a good couple series, and then you're not good. You give up a big play on a critical down, or they get you on 3rd down, or they go down the field and score after your offense gave them a lead. You know what I mean? Then so they do go. You see how they go hand in hand. So the more we can increase that, and look, the message is what we need more than 4. A lot of teams do. I don't mean just obviously some teams on the field can get it done with just the 4, but as a collective group that come in at different packages, different ways, different positions, you need 7, 8. You need 7. If you have 7 really good defensive linemen that maybe not all great pass rushers, but they each bring something to the table, and 5 of them have the pass rush capability, you got a defensive line. That's what you need. And then you can rotate them. Then you can move them in all different directions, play guys all over the place. It'll screw everything up. And then you're bringing, the fast corner off the edge. You're bringing your nickel. You're bringing your backer.
Because that's what Smoot and Agba were supposed to be, right? Like that they were supposed to be in addition to Josh Hines-Allen
4,
and
5,
Trayvon
or
Walker.
6, and that.
I thought for sure, like somewhere in that ballpark of 5 would be perfect for Smoot, for Agba, and then you add those undrafted rookie free agents in BJ Green and Danny Strigow, and if they each can get a couple too, then collectively you got the headliners with the double digits, and then you've got a couple guys with around 5, and then you throw in a couple from the other 2 that you have now a pass rush that is intimidating.
I mean, look, B.J. Green II could be that guy.
Yeah.
He might be on the team. I'd like to see him, stand up and rush. I mean, he's not small. I don't mean that. But the more space he has, I think the more dangerous he can really be. When you're quicker and faster and not as big, you need that space, so you can work the game a little
Which
bit.
is why
get
he
him
was
off balance.
undrafted.
Yeah.
The lack of size.
But he stands out in that pass rusher has when he gets a chance.
Yeah, I mean, and we've talked about this enough, but you haven't had enough when it comes to full on. You've had the pressures, and we've talked about those numbers, and they impact in a certain way. But sacks, when you go back, and even the year Josh Hines-Allen had 17 and a half, the team only had 34. He had half of the sacks of that season. You have to have people who can start to accumulate 5, 6, 7, and then having a Trayvon or another guy who can hit that 10, 11, 12, that's when you get the numbers of these leaders that we're seeing now who are getting 60 plus sacks. And that's those are the teams that, to your point, Lauren, we've seen go deep into the postseason, if not winning the Super Bowl recently.
Yeah. I mean, you look at, take Denver, 68 sacks, right? Benito had 12. Allen had 8. John Franklin Myers had 7. The other backer had 8. Whatever, I forget his name. A really good player. But, no, it wasn't Singleton. It was on the Cooper, I think. I think Cooper is his last name. He had another 8 sacks. So it's and then you look at Seattle. It's no, not anybody with double digits, but multiple guys, 7, 7, 7, 6, 5, and then adding up. And they weren't the most team that, with the sacks, but they were obviously very good in that regard. We were not. We were 30. What do we have? 35 total. I think we finished 4th to last in the league. 32. Yeah.
So the only people with worse were the Cardinals, Panthers, Ravens, Jets, and Niners.
So we had one more takeaway than sacks. Is that right? Did we have 33?
Yeah.
Versus 32?
Yeah, something like that.
Either way.
And the leader was the Broncos with 68. The Falcons had 57. The Browns had 53. Lions, Vikings both have 49. Steelers had 48. Rams, Seahawks, Texans all had 47. So that's a good amount, a chunk of 11, 12 teams who have a good 10 plus more sacks than
Bears had 33 takeaways. Jaguars had 31. So one more sacks than takeaways. That is not balanced, is what I would say.
No,
that's not normal. In other words, usually, if you're getting that many takeaways, you're also accumulating a ton of sacks. All right, we'll keep the football conversation going and also get into a little Daytona 500 and some hockey, all the sports. You're listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday, 1010 XL 92.5 FM.
Jacksonville Sports, 24/7. Your teams, your town, on your time. The 1010XL network is here. Find 1010XL at 1010XL.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Fought for you by Green Law Group on 1010XL.
When your home or business deserves more than ordinary glass, you trust the experts. Capital Glass and Shower Doors has been elevating spaces for over 40 years with precision, craftsmanship, and clean, modern design. From sleek frameless shower enclosures to elegant glass railings, wine cabinets, and any custom glass that makes a statement, Capital Glass delivers unmatched quality, service, and attention to detail. Your vision, their expertise. Capital Glass and Shower Doors at capcoglass.com.
Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
Best Bet is number 1. That's right, Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine have one-card poker, the fastest and easiest card game to learn and play. Play one card at a time, and the highest card wins even money. If the card values are the same, it's time for war, just like the game you remember. You must be 18 years or older to play. Learn all the games at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Fall in love with a new Chevy at Nimnick Chevrolet. Frank Frangie here. Right now, save up to 20% off a new Silverado or get financing rates as low as 1.9%. Unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. And with their extensive selection, you're sure to find your perfect truck or SUV at Nimnick. Shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com or visit the dealership at the corner of Park and Cassett. So who's got more new vehicles at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Winter is in full swing, and Aleve is here to keep you moving. When the cold weather sets in, everyday aches and pains can linger, but Aleve's got your back. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, Aleve keeps you going with long-lasting body pain relief to get you through whatever the season brings. Chilly days or cozy nights, Aleve gives you that long-lasting body pain relief you can count on this winter. Try Aleve. Use as directed for minor aches and pains.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On February 16th, 2025, William Byron becomes the first driver since Denny Hamlin to win back-to-back Daytona 500s.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Ticket here for Action Garage Door. Nothing more frustrating than your garage door misfiring. When it does, I call Action Garage Door. They take action. Jeff Menard and crew, Jacksonville folks, not some big out-of-town chain. Something goes wrong with your garage door, take action. Check them out. Garage Door 911, garagedoor911.com.
Are you ready for another historic season at the bank? It's time to lock in your seats for 2026 by placing your deposit now. Next season will be played at Everbank Stadium, but seating capacity is limited due to in-bowl renovations, and spots are going fast. Don't miss out on your chance to see the season's biggest matchups and highlight real moments by placing your deposit at jaguars.com/tickets or by calling 904-633-2000. Go Jags!
The Purple Heart isn't just a name. It represents service, discipline, and earning trust. At Purple Heart Pools, that standard shows up most in pool renovations. If your pool is outdated or worn down, now's the time to upgrade. So when summer arrives, your pool is ready. From new finishes and tile to decking, lighting, and full transformations, every upgrade is handled with precision and attention to detail. Purple Heart Pools. Pool renovations done right.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Big Chief Tire has thousands of 5-star reviews. They have been in Jacksonville for over 60 years with 6 locations around town and maybe more on the way in the future. It is WeKeepJacksRollin.com where you can find them online. Schedule your appointments, whether you need tires, brake services, wheel alignments, oil changes, whatever you need. Big Chief Tire can help you out with your vehicle. All right, last week, Liam Coen had an initial staff meeting with some of the coaches, and the Jaguars have been so transparent with everything other than injuries with all of us. And so they let us into that little staff meeting. And here is Liam talking to these guys about the 2026 offseason.
When it comes to our edge, right? We're constantly trying to find our edge, right? And as we go into year 2, year 1, extremely important, right, guys, for setting the tone and establishing the way that we want to operate, the way that we want to play, and going through that. I think we did that, okay? There is no year more important than year 2. There's no year. Because, man, let's be honest, there's been a lot of one-hit wonders. That's the reality. And so what are we doing to separate ourselves to make sure that that never happens? So that we take the next step as a team. All good? All right, ready to break?
Oh, there you have it. So the F-bombs did not stop when the season ended.
Love it. Oh, good. Okay, good.
Yeah. Does anyone ever speak up at that moment? Like, I have a question.
Yeah.
Nope.
Hey, Coach, why so many F-bombs? I don't know. No, I love it. I love it. He's right. He's right. We've been one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
We've been through it.
And I don't know that he's talking just about Jacksonville.
No,
but
he's talking in general. Yeah, I get what he's saying.
But I love that he's addressing it head on.
And it is. I mean, year 2 under the new regime is extremely important. You know, it's to solidify what you did the year before. It's to show that you're not a one-hit wonder, that you're not a flash in a pan, and that you're here to stay. And that you know, that foundation you've built in year 1 is going to continue to grow in year 2 and year 3. Now, not every year is going to be a great year, but the next, 3 to 5 should be really, really good years. And oh, excuse me, I just snorted.
You're so excited.
that was interesting. But should be really good years, and they're laying the foundation. But he's right. He's like year 2, because you look, I call it like you get your head caught up in the clouds. So you can't. People are going to be talking about you. You're going to be going on shows. You're going to get requests for national media attention. Everyone's going to pick you to win. You know, you're going to be a Super Bowl contender or
the
candidate.
good news is I do feel like national media is going to continue on the Texans winning the AFC South train. Even though C.J. Stroud didn't play that well, at least some of the odds I've seen have been the Texans winning the division and then the Jags.
Well, we can use that for a year, but they're still they're not coming from,
I think their defense
under radar. Now the radar's on them. The bullseye's on them. People know all about them, and they're going to game plan them. And that's going to be another thing. Beating that game plan that these other teams have had, a chance to figure out over the course of the offseason, and you got to beat that. So, I love it. I love the F-bombs, and I love that he's direct, and he's telling his staff, hey, look, it's not just the players, it's us. Like, we have to lead them in that kind of direction. We can't let us, let little things slide. Oh, we'll get it tomorrow. Oh, we'll figure it out next week. No, we're going to do exactly what we did this past season and carry it forward into year number 2.
Yeah, and I think, the Texans went farther in the postseason, so that's what's going to be kind of hung on to. But what I think we've seen a lot of, and every single person we've talked to since December, the big conversation point is Trevor Lawrence and how much better Trevor got. Yep. And, in that last bit of games, and then that is going to kind of roll over into this next season. So it is kind of how you handle all of that. I do think too, a lot of times when, it's not Trevor's second year, but it's Trevor's second year with Liam Coen. You get this full off season. Jacoby Myers gets this full off season. Travis Hunter back onto defense, the main point, but Parker Washington coming off of, okay, you have a role on this offense now. Like, this is also your offense, not like, oh, what will Parker Washington do? So there's so many things that I think going into this year, it's not year 2 for a lot of these guys, but it's year 2 in this specific scheme. And we've talked about it too. Got, the film that is going to be watched on these guys now that you have Liam Coen as that head coach, offensive play caller, and what this offense looks like with all of these weapons. The main thing I think is probably going to change is maybe the running back room when it comes to ETN. And outside of that, it's going to be everybody's back pretty much, unless something crazy happens. I just saw something pop up. Someone predicted that the Bills trade for Brian Thomas Jr.
Saw that. Yeah.
Unless
had some crazy trades.
Unless something crazy like that happens and BTJ is not here, you were coming back with BTJ, Parker, Jacoby, Brenton Strange, and then, like I said, that running back room is one of the question marks. But your offensive line seems like it should be the same. Maybe a little bit of change when it comes to how quickly Cole Van Lan is ready, what they do with Walker Little. But aside from that, feels like it should be the same. So it's a lot of here's everything that everybody watched all season long. Now, how do you handle that? And as the adjustments, we saw them make in-game adjustments. We saw Liam Coen mid-season make adjustments when things weren't working. So I think that he's proven he can be that type of coach. He's not predictable like some of the things we saw when it comes to Doug Peterson from that 2022 to 2023. It just felt like they just rolled right back out with doing the exact same thing, and it just wasn't working anymore because people do figure you out. And so now they will have, okay, Trevor Lawrence, this is what he improved on. This is what he's good at. Those mid-range, I read that stat last week of how well he improved in that area. His legs, teams are going to be ready, that's going to be a big focal point for a lot of defenses this year. Watch out for Trevor Lawrence's legs, because that's something that he used a ton this year. And I don't think going into this year, a lot of defenses were like, oh, we need to watch for Trevor because he's going to take off and run. Yeah, can he? But we haven't seen him really do it. That's going to be part of team's game plan now, is that we've got to make sure we don't let Trevor get out of the pocket and make plays outside of that. So how well do they keep developing and producing after all of that? And that's part of, for me, what comes into not being that, okay, the here's your one good season and then things fall apart again. And I think you have the personnel to do it, but there's a lot of things that they're going to have to kind of continue to develop and prove on too.
I think the difference is Liam Coen has a really good edge about him, and he knows what to use as fuel for his team. And teams are not going to look at the Jaguars from the previous year. This is a 4-win team, right? Like, when they were on the schedule, you knew you were beating the Jags. It obviously changed this season. But I'd like to think that the loss to the Bills is going to give this team all the fuel that they need, that they don't need other teams to put locker room stuff up. They're going to go back to that game, that loss that haunts them.
Well, Liam has seen firsthand how McVay handles these types of things. So you would think that's what he's going to go with, and it's all accountability. That's all it is. Keeping them hungry, keeping them humble, and holding them accountable. And they'll do it. They'll do it because they want to win. When you taste it, You know what I mean? Like, you're like, man, I want that again.
Yeah.
You know, I want that shot again. I don't want to go through another season ever again without making the playoffs. You know, and you think when we went 4 years in a row, like that was so hard to do. You know, but for us, it was like, yeah, we're that kind of team. We're ready to show we're a playoff team those years. So they've got the chance, you know, and I agree with you. I think and Baselli, I mean, that whole and Stoner, that whole guy, those guys, they're together. They're all on that same, you know, built from the same kind of cloth. And this is how we want our guys. You know, it's how we raise our family. It's how we run a football team. Kind of same thing.
Yeah. What kind of shot, by the way? You said you get a taste of it and then you want another shot.
Oh, nothing from Friday night, that's for sure.
All right. I want to get it to the Daytona 500 on the other side. Keep it right here. Helmets and Heels 10 to Next on 92.5 FM.
He's not a night owl, but he does come out at night. Terrifying! Packer After Dark. All the sports talk and hot topics you need to know about. Live and local, even late night. After Rick Ballou, evenings on 1010XL.
Helmets and Heels.
From the Greenlaw Group Studios.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
It's a Helmets and Heels Big Chief Tire Monday.
Ace Carline here for Atlantic Infinity, and yes, I'm still loving my new QX60. Right now, you can lease one or lock in just 1.9% financing for 60 months, and every new Infinity comes with the Atlantic Infinity Promise. That's over $7,000 in added value. That's one of many reasons why I bought mine there. No pressure, no games, just a great experience. Make your next ride an Infinity from Atlantic Infinity. Visit AtlanticInfinity.com or the showroom near Atlantic and St. John's Bluff.
Balancing books and the grind of daily practice is what it takes to be a scholar athlete. Wednesdays on The Frangie Show, kept healthy by
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
And the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234.
On 1010XL.
Hi, Jacksonville. This is Dr. George Bari, an orthopedic surgeon who is fellowship trained in sports medicine by the Dr. James Andrews. Wintertime is upon us, and you may notice you wake up in the morning with some aches and pains in the shoulders and knees. If this happens to you, don't forget, stay mobile to try to reduce stiffness in your joints. And if that doesn't work, come see me at Bari Orthopedics, where we can treat you with cortisone injections and platelet-rich plasma injections and other non-invasive needs. Visit me at bariorthopedics.com.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Roses are red, Florida gets hotter, and your AC is about to ruin the mood. If your system barely survived last summer, now's the time to replace it before the real heat comes back swinging. Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning makes it easy. No surprises, no runaround. And with our Sweetheart AC deals, get $750 off a new AC system when you install by March 15th. Fall in love with an AC that keeps it cool without the stress and call now for a free estimate. 904-862-6769, duckduckrooter.com.
If you've been in an auto accident, you can count on the experts at San Jose Collision to return your vehicle to pre-accident conditions. San Jose Collision can also provide a fresh paint job to freshen up your vehicle or completely change its appearance. They can paint and repair all foreign and domestic cars and trucks. When quality and professionalism are important to you, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Pages in your mailbox right now.
Did you know there's local savings sitting in your mailbox right now? Money Pages is packed with real coupons from your favorite local businesses. Save money at restaurants like Al's Pizza, on pet care at Forever Vets, and on entertainment for the whole family at the Alhambra Theater. Plus, make sure to download the Money Pages app for savings on the go.
Pages in your mailbox right now.
Help your loved one fall back in love with his or her home with a home improvement from the professionals at the Lifetime family.
That's right, Nick. Happy Valentine's Day to all the lovebirds out there. What says I love you more than adding additional space with a glass or screen enclosure that will enhance your home's livability, or brand new floors that dramatically improve the look and feel of your home?
That's right. New outdoor living space from Lifetime Enclosures and beautiful floors from Lifetime Flooring.
Come experience the Lifetime difference. Call or visit one of our showrooms today for our Valentine's Day specials throughout February.
Lifetime Enclosures.
Here's a little secret to why I've been married for over 25 years. Coen Flowers. Hot Flying Jacko here. Yeah, that's correct. When I need to send some love to my bride, I don't wait for an anniversary or her birthday. I just simply go to CoenFlowers.com.
Tara Loggeman here for Local Fair Jacks. Fresh, local produce, eggs, and meat delivered right to your door. It's where Jeff and I shop because we know exactly where our food is coming from. There's no scary recalls, just trusted local farmers. Visit localfairjacks.com.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Colin Morikawa took the victory at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, the PGA Tour's first signature event of the 2026 season. Morikawa's 22-under score was his first victory since the 2023 season, as he edged out Minwoo Lee by one shot, birdieing the 18th hole to once again reach the mountaintop. It's 58 degrees at 3 o'clock time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels on this Big Chief Tire Monday. So I know, Taylor, you were locked into United States hockey, so you were not a part of the Daytona 500 watch party. That I feel like this is the most excited, and I don't know, I can't explain to you why, the most excited I've been about a 500 in a while. I like I said, I have no necessarily like drivers in it. I didn't put money on the race. We barely talked about it last week, just as far as we played that fun game, country singer versus NASCAR driver, which the winner we guessed was a country singer. Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick driving for Michael Jordan's team, ended up winning the race, which was unbelievable. But Tom, I know you were watching it. So I feel like the race, it's exciting to start. And then there's this long period in between where, unless you're a true NASCAR fan, you probably don't lock in as much. And then, obviously, towards the end, things start to really shake out.
Yeah, the end, that's the beginning of the end. Yeah, at the end, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Reddick's, we were just saying, his teammate, he shot him forward. That was just insane. Then he went down, and then his teammate wiped out like 3 or 4 guys. Like, that's taking one for the team. Michael's happy about that, but
Riley Herbst is his name.
That was his name. I'm sorry,
Riley Herbst.
Yeah, great job, Riley. Way to be a good teammate, man. That's pretty interesting. Just so much, it's just so much tension, at that time of the race, and. You were just talking earlier, like you hear the announcers like, "Don't go out too far, like you're leaving a crease. They're going to give them," and they find it.
It looked like for a second Michael McDowell was going to win,
like he was going to win, right?
Because he had started to pull away. But yeah, it was on Fox. And by the way, 25 years, or the 25th anniversary of Dale Earnhardt Sr. passing away at Daytona 500.
Wow!
In that final lap,
wow.
Isn't that insane?
25
it's been 25 years. Yeah. One of our good friends came over and I was like, can you believe it's been 25 years? Honestly, crazy.
I remember that day. It was a sad day, man.
Incredibly sad for so many different reasons. Obviously, had he been wearing the Hans device, he might have survived the fact that his son's out there on the track at the same time. But yeah, Fox did have the broadcast yesterday, and the final lap sounded like this.
This is the one you want to lead. If the caution comes out, it's over. Hocevar in the wall, turned around in front of the field. Around goes Jones. Ricky Stenhouse to the front. Elliott around the outside. Still green. Reddick on the bottom. Reddick, Elliott. The help's on the outside. Here comes Chase Elliott. Can it be?
Yeah,
Chase Elliott.
Stuck in the middle with no help.
Zane Smith with him. On the bottom is Tyler Reddick. They come up single file. Zane Smith's going to have one shot at Chase Elliott, NASCAR champion, most popular driver, trying for the win, and Reddick to the top side. He's got help. Riley Herbst, his teammate. Reddick drops to the bottom. Alongside Elliott, in the wall goes Herbst, and Tyler Reddick comes to the line. Wow. A shower of sparks behind him.
How
A
about
shower of sparks behind him.
Yeah.
I love that. Like I said, I've never been a diehard NASCAR fan and probably never going to be.
Yeah.
But there's just something about the anticipation. You can hear it in the announcers' voices, right?
Yeah.
Like they're all trying to talk at the same time because when it comes down to that final 100 yards almost, it's
Yeah.
chaos. It's mass chaos.
What was great, too, is they weren't even talking about Reddick because
No.
he was in third. You know, and all of a sudden, oh, beep. It's Reddick.
Oh, beep.
It is Reddick. By the
Holy
way,
cow.
I'm going to give NASCAR a shout out. So we talked about for the AFC Championship game, we had the Broncos, right, playing host to the Bills in Denver. And we saw the weather start to go kind of, that wasn't the AFC
Right.
Championship game. That was the
divisional playoff.
Divisional
Yeah.
playoff. Thank you. And because the snow, obviously the blizzard and all those things. And I said, why don't they just move the game up to avoid the blizzard? And it's like, yeah, there's TV and stuff like that. Well, NASCAR saw the forecast, and Jacob Simons and I were talking about this yesterday because he loves NASCAR. He went down to the race. And I was telling him on Friday, I was like, I think they should start the race a little sooner to avoid any weather issues. And he's like, yeah, I don't, who knows? I don't know if they're that smart. And then he emails me yesterday. He's like, they're going to move the race up. And I was like, it can't be like that hard to do. So NFL, NASCAR is smarter than you because they got their race in and did not have any of the weather issues.
Yeah, the NASCAR though the last 2 years have had
Correct.
Good job for learning after 2 years because the last 2 years they've had to finish it on a different day.
Right, that's right.
That's the one difference. You can still play. I don't think they cared as much in Denver because you still get to play the game. And like we've said, a lot of times like those elements, they're kind of like, oh, this just adds to what the game is. It's maybe boring for some people because they wanted high scoring, but they didn't have to cancel the game. That's the difference. They would have had to move it to a whole other day, and you don't want a Monday or Tuesday race. And originally, it also looked like it was going to rain a lot today, so then they're like, oh, well, we're going to have to push it to Tuesday. You're only going to have like 20, 30 laps to have to move 2 days, which sucks. But, I mean, the last couple years, they have had to, so I'm glad they figured it out this year to finally be like, oh, let's change this a little bit.
Although I will say that, so the race was originally supposed to start at 2:30. They moved it up to 1:30. Well, I was in front of the television at 2:10 going, this race still hasn't started yet. Like, I don't think we need all these pre-race activities.
Yeah.
Like, let's get this thing going for crying out loud.
I want to get in the infield. I saw a picture of the King, Petty, and Gruden.
Yes.
By a couple RVs inside.
Yeah.
I'm
they
like,
interviewed
that would
Gruden
be,
before the race, and he
that
was
would
like,
be fun.
it's funny, you guys start your season with your Super Bowl. We end our season with the Super Bowl.
That's true.
But yeah, I have friends that went to the race, somewhere in the pit area, somewhere in the stands. And so it was cool seeing all the different angles and views and things like that. But yeah, it sounds like we need to take a road trip to Daytona and go hang out in the infield next year.
Helmets and Heels RV. Let's go.
Let's go.
Separate bathrooms, of course.
I've never been to a race. I feel like I would much more enjoy it if I was there than having to turn it on the TV. My grandpa loves NASCAR. It has changed. Like, he used to love NASCAR. Let me say that. 90s, like early 2000s, my grandpa was on his couch watching NASCAR every weekend. And then now, probably not as much, but he also was a big Jeff Gordon fan. So that was like his racer. And I don't even know who his favorite would be. Maybe he'll text me and let me know because he's probably listening. But I was like, yeah, I have had a friend who messaged me and was like, by the way, you guys guessed the winner was a country singer. I didn't even remember that we mentioned that name in the segment that we did. And I was like, that's how just out of that world I am. But I feel like if I were there and experienced it, maybe that would change a little bit because sometimes, and I know some people are like this with baseball or hockey, for example, where if they're there, they love it and it's amazing, but they're not going to sit down and watch a full baseball game. Like, I know plenty of people like that. So I'm like, maybe NASCAR would be that for me.
I don't watch baseball on TV unless it's like a big game or something, World Series or something like that. I'd go. I love going. Hockey, I definitely watch on TV, especially playoff hockey.
It's certainly faster.
Insane.
If you get into baseball, like understanding the different grips for the pitchers and how important every pitch is, I think you start to realize how much faster it does go than if you're not, paying that close.
It's just look, like you could take a basketball game. I'll just take girls' high school. You see them live like we did about a month ago. You're like, this is intense. Like, this is cool. Like, this is, the competition. And then, of course, you go up and up and up in levels. Like, doesn't matter what we're talking, guys, girls, or whatever. When you see it live, like even hockey, like you see hockey live, like, holy cow, these guys can skate like crazy. Hey, and kudos to the U.S. hockey teams, man, kicking some butt.
Yeah.
The girls today just taking it to Sweden.
Yeah. 5-0 today for the women over Sweden. So they'll face the winner of Canada-Switzerland, and that puck drops. It actually might have just dropped. It was supposed to drop at 3:10 Eastern.
Yep.
And then the men beat Germany yesterday 5-1.
Yeah.
And so, it's exciting.
How about the game Saturday? Was it Denmark and they got in that beef?
Yeah.
That was great.
Both were fun. The
Tkachuk's
Denmark
great. I love
one,
those
I know,
guys.
the Kachuk brothers.
They're
They're
great.
ones that you love to be on Team USA, but nobody likes them unless, like, when it comes to the normal teams, you're not cheering for them because they are kind of that. They're chirpy and run their mouth and they're a little annoying. But when they're on your team for Team USA, you're like, let's go, Kachuk brothers. But yeah, the women are just insane. They just set the streak for the most shutouts in a row in the Olympics, and it's 5 straight. 5-0 Finland, 5-0 Switzerland, 5-0 Canada, 6-0 over Italy, 5-0 over Sweden. So they're just rocking and rolling. It's good.
Yeah.
The men are a little shakier. They keep starting, and the final score doesn't show that, but it's a little too close for me through like halfway through the second period. But the good thing about USA men's hockey is they just have so many. Their offense is way too fast, and there's too many of. They're so stacked that the opposing teams by like midway through the second period and the third period just start to look worn down, and that's what is kind of saving them right now. It's a little too close for comfort for me for the first like period and a half, but they end up figuring it out late in the games.
And the women were getting scrappy today, too. We, as my wife said it great, I was walking out there, she's like, I'm going to miss the Olympics. It's been on all day. Just, obviously they were gone this weekend with the dance competition. Way to go, Harley and Kelsey, kicking ass up there. It was great.
We watched
it at Pete's. I'm like, Harley, they're all watching at Pete's. Go get them, girl. Yeah. I forgot what I was saying.
The women were getting scrappy.
Oh,
but
the
gold medal match is Thursday, 1:10 p.m. Eastern.
And they're not pros, right? The men are pros.
Mm-hmm. I think some of the women are also
Is there
pros.
a pro?
Yes.
There is, yeah.
There is. Like a women's professional hockey league
There
that
is,
get paid and people really?
All correct, yes.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but I agree with you. The Olympics have been fun, especially like
They have been
yesterday
great. Yeah.
watching Erin Jackson, the speed skater from Ocala.
Yeah.
It was so sad that she didn't medal. She ended up in 5th place.
Oh, she did. Oh, I didn't see that. Okay.
But she still fought hard. Skated as fast as she possibly could.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has been fun. I'll miss it. And one other final note, in the golf world, Colin Morikawa yesterday won for the first time on the PGA Tour since 2023.
Okay.
His wife joined him right after he won, and then he announced that she's expecting, and they just started telling everybody. So, and then I saw that he said he'd been trying to relax this week at Pebble, and so they had really good wines thanks to the pro-ams, and so he's like, I never did this, but I had some wine during
Good for
the week.
Colin.
And I was like, maybe that's the secret.
Hey.
Wine and a pregnant
I mean,
wife.
some people fight better when they're drunk. Maybe you play golf better with a little buzz.
Don't tell them about wine and dine on 9. We might have long players for
Valid. Very valid. All right, Lawrence Lane is next. Keep it right here. Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday, 10 to Nick on 2.5 FM.
From the Greenlaw Group Studios.
Helmets and Heels.
Jaguars legend, Tony Baselli.
1010XL.
Mike Dempsey here for Big Number 1 Duval Ford. Did you know that Duval Ford offers a mobile service that comes to you at home or at work? Get oil changes, filters, battery replacement, recalls, and more with no extra fees. Same dealership quality delivered. Easy online scheduling with live technician tracking. Also available for fleets and commercial. On-site service at your convenience. Contactless payments and paperless invoicing. Serving Jacksonville and surrounding areas, Duval Ford. Schedule your next service at DuvalFord.com.
Helmets and Heels.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. The local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
Frank Frangie here for South State Bank. At South State, they believe strong relationships build strong businesses. That's why they take the time to understand your goals, challenges, and vision so they can provide solutions tailored to your needs, like they've done for me for years. South State has always been there for our business and our charity. With a team you can trust and a commitment to personalized service, South State Bank is here to be more than your bank. They're your partner in business. Visit southstatebank.com. South State Bank, member FDIC.
Give us your hot take.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
On the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm awake and I speak English, so yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Be part of the conversation. 641-1010.
It's Cancer Prevention Month, and Ackerman Urology reminds you to stay ahead of prostate, bladder, and kidney health. Get a yearly checkup, ask about a screening, and make self-checks a habit. To make an appointment at one of 4 locations, visit AckermanUrology.com.
The riders who face Daytona Supercross are built different. Withstanding the most unforgiving and grueling track is not just a point of pride, but of pure grit and determination. This battle can only be felt in person. Witness the action unfold at the only place in Florida where the biggest names will battle it out under the lights. Daytona Supercross is built different. It's built for champions. It's built for fans. The gate drops Saturday, February 28th. There's only one place to be. Secure your tickets and trackside access at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Do you want to grow your career with a company that's committed to growing with you? Florida Home AC has aggressive plans to double their workforce, and they're looking for determined, resourceful people with initiative. Just log on to FloridaHomeAC.com/careers to find out more.
Zero Res Month of Love Sale. Hicken here. Not only is your carpet one of the biggest investments in your home, it's also the biggest air filter in your home. If your carpet hasn't been professionally cleaned, you're breathing unhealthy levels of nasty dirt, dander, bacteria, and germs that keep recirculating again and again. Lucky for you, Zero Res is going to spread the love to you and your home. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $149. Book online at ZeroResJacksonville.com and say you want the 1010 XL or Dan Hicken Special.
Zero Res.
Attention skilled electricians, are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less.
Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Time now to get into Lauren's Lane.
Now, Lauren's Lane. Opened up by Closets by Design. Imagine your home totally organized.
All right, I have a lot for y'all today because we have college basketball, we have college baseball, and we have gymnastics. So we will start with, that's right, Florida men's basketball cruises past the victory over Kentucky at home, 92-83. And in case you're wondering what the Rowdy Reptiles decided for Denzel Aberdeen, who was on the Gators national championship team a year ago and then ended up transferring to Kentucky, he got to hear all game long Gator Trader. He was called Gator Trader all game long.
It got a little close for a minute. I had looked at one point and I glanced up. It was like 18. Gators were up by like 18. Then I glanced back up and it was like 5. And I was like, oh, what is going on? But then it kind of felt like they controlled it.
Yeah, it was rocking at Monkey's Uncle for that game.
Oh, I'm sure.
A lot of Gator fans there.
Also rocking in the O'Connell Center. Oh, yeah. Another sold-out game.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
they're on fire, man.
For sure. Todd Golden said after the game, they're talented, obviously. It's a $22 million roster. They're physical. They're big. I expect them to do well the rest of this year. They're a really good team. So, yeah, people right now are saying that like Todd Golden's a little too, I guess, cocky. Like, yes, he said Florida was going to beat Alabama even with Charles Bediako, but Florida did.
Yeah.
And yes,
he's backing it up at this point.
Right. Yeah. He's talking about Kentucky and how much they spent on this roster with Mark Pope. And
he told people not to worry early on when those losses were coming against good teams.
That's right.
So
back off my coach is all I have to say about
I mean, that's
that.
going to be part of the rhetoric now, right? Yeah, here's your. How much did you pay for your team? We just
now you
beat
better be good then.
Yeah, you better be
Exactly.
good.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly how much Florida's guys got paid because obviously some of them, like a Condon, like a Hauk, like a Chinyalu, all potentially could have at least flirted with the NBA and decided to come back. So obviously they got money. I just don't know exactly how much. But Xavier Lee had 22 points.
Yeah.
So certainly another impressive game by him. Chinyalu had a double-double, which is impressive once again. And Urban Klavjar is just silencing.
Yeah.
He's certainly really helpful when a team does start to make a run. Klavjar will just hit a three and silence.
Yeah, and you need that person, and that was kind of the issue. I mean, we talked about that a lot early on. You needed that guy to be able to do that in the moments, and I feel like you've kind of figured out. And I never not trusted Todd Golden. I think that especially in that second half of the season last year into that run. It was just anytime you felt like someone would get injured and you're like, oh no, what are we going to do? He always had an answer to everything. So I felt like you just needed a little bit of patience to be like, okay, there's several new guys that you're trying to make kind of fit, and you've got to find out how to mesh this new group of guys together. And he's done it perfectly. And at this last run of 5 straight now since Auburn, right? They've been able to, they've just been able to feel like they cruise by people. Even when it gets a little close, you have those moments where you're like, all right, Florida has this. There's not really a concern.
Well, and that's the thing too. The super tough schedule to start the season is people were like, oh, well, this team's definitely not going back to back. Like, okay, if that's the worst thing that you're going to say about a basketball team, that's not the
we're okay.
that's not the worst thing.
He
But
didn't panic.
no,
at all.
I think he understood. I've got a front court that's going to win me a ton of games. I can wait until my guards kind of figure it out, and we've seen that shake out. I love the stat that Florida has still not lost a game as long as Denzel Aberdeen hits a 3 at the O'Connell Center.
That's funny.
So yeah, I love that. But and speaking of cruising, so Florida has South Carolina at home tomorrow night, 7:00 tip. You can of course hear that game right here on the Superstation. Florida, the last time they played South Carolina, won 95-48.
Oh,
that was on the road, and this one's in Gainesville. So yeah, we shall see. That one was at the end of January. That was a massive lopsided game.
Remember that.
Yeah, and then JU won the first edition of the River City Rumble. That was at JU this past Saturday. They won 63 over UNF to 56. JU is now 5-9 in the ASUN. UNF fell to 4-10.
Ooh.
JU travels to Florida Gulf Coast Wednesday, tipping off at 7. You can hear that game on 10:10 a.m. and the AM stream with pregame coverage beginning at 6:45, while UNF plays host on Thursday to Austin P at 7:00. So these seasons are winding down. If you want to get out and see local college basketball, certainly get to UNF this Thursday. Like I said, JU is on the road. And then when it comes to college baseball, so Florida fans having that tendency to not be patient and to panic.
After Friday, we're panicking.
So Friday night, Florida has UAB for a 3-game series in Gainesville, and Florida loses 9-7 in 10 innings. Now, Kevin O'Sullivan is not the head coach right now. He's suspended. But still, you didn't think Florida was going to lose to UAB. Now, Florida bounced back, and so hopefully everyone can take a deep breath at this point in time, and ended up winning in the doubleheader on Saturday, 11-0 in 7 innings, and then 6-1.
Okay.
So it's okay. Florida actually ended up moving up a spot in the D1 baseball rankings from 13 to 12. I think that's only because of some teams ahead of them that lost. But Florida State, by the way, had an excellent 2-0 weekend against James Madison. Their 3rd game was canceled due to weather. JU swept Rhode Island in a 4-game series, and tomorrow night, number 16 FSU is at JU. So Florida State, I should say, will be here in Jacksonville. The Frangie Show will be there tomorrow, but that I think is going to be really fun. And then UNF lost on Friday night to Sacred Heart, their first game, but they came back to win 16-3 on Saturday and 12-2 on Sunday. UNF plays host to Charleston Southern tomorrow night at 6:05. But did you hear some of those numbers?
Yeah, a lot of
16 runs, 12 runs, 11 runs, 9 runs, 6 runs for them. Like a lot of high-scoring early baseball games.
Yeah, that's fun.
It is fun.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. I mean, you don't want a pitcher's duel is kind of fun for the pitchers, but boring for everybody else. You know what I mean? Yeah, the fireworks are always fun.
But yeah, college baseball is really fun because they have those, those metal bats, and so you hear that
clink.
Clink. Yeah, we all have different
beautiful noise
for it. It is a good noise. And then finally in gymnastics, Florida moved up 1 spot to number 4, although they did lose to Oklahoma, the number 1 team in the country. Florida is now the 2nd on beam, 1st on bars, 6th on floor, but number 11 on vault. So if Florida can just improve the vault, they're going to be okay. Oklahoma is not, I would say, a gymnastics team that when you would put it on, you'd be like, oh, they're the best in the country. They're really consistent, but they don't do anything super exciting. Like Florida, when it came to the all-around, Florida had 3 gymnasts that none of them won, but they were all better than the next Oklahoma one. Oklahoma had 1 gymnast who competed in the all-around that was anywhere near Florida's scores, but they're just really consistent. They don't make mistakes. And so it's boring gymnastics to watch. But of course, that's coming from me, who my team lost to their team.
They're just so, but I feel like almost everything, they're in the top 5 ranked, Oklahoma, when it comes to beam and bars and all of that. They just don't make a lot of mistakes.
Correct. You're not ever going to like put on a bars routine or a beam routine from them and be like, wow, did you see what she did? But they won't wobble, especially when it comes to the beam, and they'll stick their landings on those types of things, and they're better on vault than Florida is. So Florida deserved the loss, but I still would prefer to watch our gymnasts compete than theirs. I'll just say that. Take that, Oklahoma. You may have won last year, but take that. I have one friend who is not a fan of Jenny Rowland, the Florida gymnastics coach. And so anytime Florida loses, he's like, see, we need a new coach. And so finally yesterday, I was like, who do you want? Well, like a couple years ago, remember when Trinity Thomas was on the team? She was phenomenal, but she got hurt like late. I think it was in the SEC championship meet. And so like Florida didn't win the national championship for that reason. Another year, Florida was in the national championship and made some mistakes on beam. And so he just thinks Jenny Rowland doesn't have the edge that she needs for this team. I was like, but what assistant coach or who would you like to replace her? I don't have
your
a short
candidates
list for gymnastics coaches. You got that right. All right. Exactly. All right. Back to some Jaguars football on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday, 10 to next on 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
From the Green Law Group Studios.
Find Florida Gators basketball on 1010XL.
The first place Gators go for 6 in a row. Florida, South Carolina at the O-Dome. Tomorrow at 7 on 1010 AM.
The Players' Championship returns to TPC Sawgrass March 10th through 15th. Experience golf's most iconic stage with enhanced food and beverage offerings, interactive fan attractions, and an atmosphere built for every type of fan. See the best players in the world, including world #1 Scotty Scheffler, 2025 champion Rory McIlroy, and fan favorite Brooks Koepka take on the legendary Stadium Course and the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When mice and rats show up in your home or business, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast before they have time to multiply. Terminix knows how to shut down rodents, and they'll keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a rodent problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule your free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
Bro, have you heard about the hottest and newest sports league in town?
Vanguard Sports League isn't just VIP, it's the standard. Smoke-filled tunnel intros, cool benches with canopies, big scoreboards, championship rings, and convenient locations all across Jacksonville. Oh, and Mascot Potty's there hyping everyone up every game. No wonder it's the talk of the town. Spring and summer registration now open.
Search VanguardSportsLeague.com today.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
Frank Frangie here. Bono's Pit Barbecue has been serving up legendary barbecue on the First Coast for over 75 years, and right now, Bono's has a smoking deal for you. For just $12.49, you'll get Bono's signature pulled pork sandwich, a side, and a drink. But hurry, Duval. This pig deal is for a limited time only. With 18 Bonos around town, there's always one near you. And if you want the best catering, call 904-332-RIBS. That's 904-332-7427 or online at bonosbarbecue.com. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
This is Garrett Scantland, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists for any orthopedic issue you have. I'm back to my Olympic training, and I feel great.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. Went smooth as silk, was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
I'm starting to realize being a homeowner isn't all upside, Jason.
I mean, it does give you a place to live.
Yeah, but now suddenly I need to know the names of all the people I need to look after my house.
Like who?
Like if my air conditioner breaks in the middle of the heat wave, I need to know who I call to fix it.
That's me. You know me.
But what if my water heater dies or my toilet backs up?
That would also be me. Bueller Air and Plumbing.
Okay, fine, but what about my duct cleaning and my water filtration and my sewer drain? Where am I going to find all those guys if something goes wrong? I'm just a guy with a house and a dream and...
This pair of sunglasses.
Whoa.
Bueller Air and Plumbing is the only name you need to know. Our club members even get 2 free visits a year, so you know we're there when you need us.
Well, that's cool.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
We chatted a bit earlier about all of the releases that the Miami Dolphins had made today, Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb being 2 of those. But this tweet it made me laugh a little bit. So someone said Tyreek Hill potential landing spots, and they go through and they like categorize different teams, and some of them serious, some of them kind of funny, but it just made me laugh. So it said makes the most sense the Chiefs, makes the least sense the Vikings, addicted to past their prime old wide receivers, Ravens and Titans. That's cool. Patriots and Bills. That's not cool. Jets and Browns. I love it. Broncos. Great sideline meltdown potential. Eagles and Steelers. Jerry embraces the old him. Cowboys. Won't happen, but it'd be fire. Rams. The old get older. Commanders. Cool if you think about it. Seahawks, Saints, and Giants. And I was just laughing because I was like, we don't know what exactly. And like I said, it looks like he's probably not playing, or if he does, not until late in the season. But I could see the Chiefs just being like, come back. You know, we saw what you could do with Patrick Mahomes earlier, and Tyree, you know, what that adds to that room immediately. I didn't even read the names of the teams when it said addicted to their prime old wide receivers, and I knew Tennessee was going to be in that category immediately. The Commanders, again, older, get older. So some of them are kind of funny, but I do think that with someone, would not be surprised at all if he goes back to Kansas City.
Yeah, the Bills need another wide receiver. I just don't know with the health concerns for Tyreek if that would make them
their best choice right now, especially.
Yeah, but
I mean, listen, when he's healthy, he sure is dynamic still. You know, I don't got to figure out what kind of value you put him at. But if he can come back, from the injury, like he's definitely still a playmaker. I wouldn't give up the farm for him.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'd probably go a different direction if I had to do that, but the guy can still get it done when he's healthy.
100%. Yeah. All right. So Mike Duraco, Mike Duraco of ESPN, he put out an article over the weekend, and it was basically the question of, is Trevor Lawrence's success sustainable? Okay. And a couple of the stats really jumped out to me. So we all know that conversation that Liam and Trevor had, and Liam told him to just let it rip, right? Mm-hmm. Like, just don't worry about turning the ball over. Just go out and let it rip. So in the 9 games before the let it rip conversation, Trevor Lawrence's QBR was 41.4. He had 222 passing yards per game, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 172 rushing yards, and 4 rushing touchdowns. The Jaguars went 5-4. After the conversation, he ranked 3rd in the league with a 77 QBR, was 5th in passing yards, 2nd in passing touchdowns with 5 interceptions. He also had 187 yards and 5 touchdowns rushing, which ranked 2nd and 3rd respectively among quarterbacks. And the Jaguars, of course, won every game to win the AFC South. It can't be just that simple, right? It obviously all goes back to what we've talked about ad nauseum with the footwork, the mechanics, and certainly another thing that Liam really wanted Trevor to work on was to manipulate the defensive backs with his eyes. Yeah, like that's so many good quarterbacks obviously can look a safety off and things like that. But those stats are really astounding that it took, mainly a conversation, maybe a wristband when it comes to that. But like let it rip might need to be a more
On a shirt.
popular, a more popular thing in Jacksonville on some billboards and on some shirts.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, we saw, and we've talked about this a ton, the specific things that improved with Trevor, and the legs, him using his legs is a big part of that, and in that number too. And so for people who don't know, which D-Rock puts this in the article, that a 50 is an average quarterback. So previous to those games, 41.4 QBR, when 50 is average, is not good. You're not playing very good football offensively. And there's several factors into that. We know the drops, we know certain things like that, but you also were able to run the ball really well. So you would think early on in the season that would have helped the offense and Trevor, but it wasn't there yet. I think some of those things just kind of had to work themselves out. And in this article, D-Rock mentioned too, which really stuck out to me, because he just talked about how Liam Coen's offenses are QB friendly, and he used that term. And he goes back to what Baker did.
Shouldn't all offenses be QB friendly?
They're not,
by the
though.
way?
And I always say that, but that's why I use that easy button term, because that's something that Kyle Shanahan and McVay are so good at, as being able to, whatever quarterback is in your system, making that work. And like McVay is such a good example of that, because he had Jared Goff and they go to the Super Bowl and they did well. You look at Jared Goff's numbers and he had pretty decent numbers. He was playing good football. But McVay made that offense so simple and easy for him to understand. But he was like, okay, but I'm not going to win a Super Bowl with this quarterback. I need a more veteran guy that fits some of the things that I do. And so Shanahan's another example of that. Quarterbacks come in there other than Trey Lance and just kind of work no matter what. And I feel like that's something that Mike McDaniel, we've talked a ton about being that type of guy too. That's why Tua, I know he's about to probably get shipped off, but is completing 76% of his passes there, because they have those easy button stuff and they kind of plan, here's an offense that can kind of work for everybody. Sometimes it's hard to win the championships with that, because you are just having it's maybe easier to figure out for better defenses, but it's true. I mean, you go down and you look at the year Baker had, you go back to Will Levis, and now what you're seeing out of Will Levis and how that was able to make him look like a good quarterback in college. And so that is also part of this. I think Liam Coen is so good as yes, Trevor got better at a lot of things, but I also think Liam Coen is so good at this that it really helped Trevor, especially in that second half of the season. And then you added Jacoby Myers and Britton Strange comes back, and all of the things just clicked at the right time. And I think that is why, to me, it doesn't feel like it should go away, because all of those pieces are back.
Yeah. And look, I think they got away from the easy button plays when they needed it, especially down the stretch in the wild card game. You know, those outs to Brian Thomas, they're unstoppable. You know, thrown on time in the right spot, run the right way, which they were clicking a lot of times during the year. You know, you did it with Parker as well. You know, I think the thing that really stands out to me is Trevor finally throwing it before they were open. Like, it took him a long time to get to it. It always seemed like he waited till they're open. And a lot of times, as you girls know, man, it's not when they're open. You deliver it to get them open. You're throwing it to a spot, and they're going to be there on time. So trust that. You know, and it takes time, and I get it, you know, drops, getting hit, whatever, things, you know, they ball up, and, you know, you sit there and you don't want to trust it. But that's when he started trusting it. And the one stat that really jumps out, his yards per attempt after the let it rip went through the roof. I mean, he was at like 6'5", 8.8 against Kansas City. But those first 9 games, nothing above 7. Then he went on a run. I mean, since the Charger game, 7, and then it was 8-5, 8-5, 8-1, 10-3, 7-8, 7-1, 8-5. Like, he's throwing the ball downfield. Well, he did that because he started trusting his guys, throwing it on time. And I thought that was really where he really started to letting it rip, per se. I do think they got to go back to those kind of plays, though, Taylor. They're unstoppable. And when you need yards, that's what you go to. And it should come secondhand nature that and even if it's Trevor audibling, I don't know if he has, you know, he's audible to those types of plays, but hopefully he can get there, because those are ones he should feel really comfortable throwing, because he throws them on a dime. And I don't care where he's on the field. He could be on the far hash and still hit the far sideline right on a rope at the right spot on the outside. And I'm telling you, if it's on time, it's unstoppable. And I don't care how good the cornerback is, if you put in the right spot on the right time. So I'd like to see more of that. I think that could have been the message, in the last drive of the wild card, hey, settle down. We got a minute to go. I know we don't have any timeouts. You don't have to rush it. Let's get a couple easy completions that you're really good at doing. And we could have gone right down the field, I think, at least for a couple.
Sure.
Maybe they shore it up and stop us. I don't know. But that would have been something. I think they look back. They'd be like, we got to get him because that gets him in a rhythm.
Yeah.
That gets every quarterback in a rhythm. Give him those easy button throws.
Yeah, not all the way down the field, not by the sideline with no timeouts. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
That was some of those things just kind of caught up to them late.
Brian Thomas had 2 catches for 21 yards in the loss to the Bills in the wild card. And so, Parker had over 100 yards.
He
but
did.
Yeah,
he did. He was great.
It wasn't the passing offense that we saw that had clicked so incredibly well. A couple other stats. Trevor Lawrence's off-target rate was 16.2% before Jacoby Myers was traded to the Jaguars. After that, 13.8%. So I don't know if that's a readily available stat, but I love the off-target. I want to honestly compare that to some other guys throughout the league. And then D-Rock talked to a defensive coordinator who stayed anonymous, obviously. And he said about Trevor Lawrence, I always thought he was a good quarterback. Personally, the system works for him. It's a West Coast system. It's good for most quarterbacks with talent. Look at Sam Darnold. Same thing. Over time, he got embedded in it. The Jaguars have the talent to go with the built-in answers. They aren't stressed to have to go through all the progressions, allows them to play fast. There are answers to it. Trevor's benefited from that. And we talked about that in the offseason. Well, I should say throughout training camp, too, of that's the style of Liam Coen's offense is trying to get, whether it's the first read, second read, but get the ball out quickly to multiple open guys. And Trevor talked about that. Yeah. This offense has answers and obviously was not directly knocking previous offensive schemes, but we could certainly read between the lines when it comes to that. All right, Pest of the Day on the other side. Keep it right here. You're listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday, 10 to XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
Backed by Green Law Group.
For the insured.
Fighting for you. Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
Make Capital Glass and Shower Doors your premier choice for top-quality glass solutions. With over 40 years of expertise, their team specializes in commercial and residential projects. From elegant shower doors to modern frameless enclosures, they've got you covered. But that's not all. They also offer glass railing systems, glass wine cabinets, and much more. For unmatched quality and service, choose Capital Glass and Shower Doors. Your vision, their expertise. Visit online at capcoglass.com.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. The local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
Fall in love with a new Chevy at Nimnick Chevrolet. Frank Frangie here. Right now, save up to 20% off a new Silverado or get financing rates as low as 1.9%. Unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. And with their extensive selection, you're sure to find your perfect truck or SUV at Nimnick. Shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com or visit the dealership at the corner of Park and Cassett. So who's got more new vehicles at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
When you're a little kid on the playground, they tell you don't hit back. Well, the courtroom isn't a playground. And if you've suffered an injury or death in your family, I'm here to tell you it's okay to hit back and fight to make them pay. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we understand all the pain and emotion that comes with being wrong. And we've dedicated our lives to making things right for people like you. So if you get hit back with Hastings Injury Law. Offices, Jacksonville.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
The Purple Heart isn't just a name. It represents service, discipline, and earning trust. At Purple Heart Pools, that standard shows up most in pool renovations. If your pool is outdated or worn down, now's the time to upgrade. So when summer arrives, your pool is ready. From new finishes and tile to decking, lighting, and full transformations, every upgrade is handled with precision and attention to detail. Purple Heart Pools. Pool renovations done right.
Mortgage rates have dropped. They're expected to move lower. Home sales momentum is building. So now's the time to get your home ready to maximize your sales price. It's time to call Chad and Sandy, the proven experts to sell your home. Maybe
You have concerns about putting your home on the market and getting it sold. Well, let me alleviate those for you. There's a real quick solution. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold or they will buy it. Call 414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com. You'll find out for yourself. Chad and Sandy, the local real estate experts I trust and recommend with the sale of your home or mine. Using their proprietary Market Max system, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Anthony and Mary in Palmco said, we needed to sell our home to move closer to family, but low cash offers weren't cutting it. Since we'd only bought a year earlier, options felt limited, but not for Chad and Sandy. Call Chad and Sandy today, or log on to chadandsandy.com.
Let's talk about the sound no homeowner wants to hear. Drip, drip, drip. Still dripping. That's exactly why Duck Duck Rooter created the Love Your Pipes promotion. Plumbing problems don't scare us. Not with years of experience and honest upfront pricing on our side. Right now, you can get free plumbing assessment on all fixtures with any paid plumbing service. It's the smart move to fix the issue now before it becomes bigger. So when you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769, duckduckrooter.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels on this Big Chief Tire Monday. You can find them online. WeKeepJacksRollin.com if you have any tire needs, brake service needs, wheel alignments, oil change needs for your vehicle. Visit my friends at Big Chief Tire with 6 locations around Jacksonville. All right, time now for today's Terminix Pest of the Day. Is always brought to you by our friends at Terminix. You can find them online at Terminix.com. That's TERMINIX.com. They take care of all the pest control issues at Everbank Stadium, VyStar Ballpark, VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and all of your favorite event venues around town. And they do the same thing at my house, and they have the absolute best technicians. All right, so I'm not going to blatantly criticize people who don't watch certain sporting events, right? Everyone gets to pick and choose what they want to watch.
Okay.
But to say that you
Thank
haven't
you.
watched a single second of the Winter Olympics and it doesn't get you excited at all, I guess I just can't get there. I understand you can't watch all of it by all means. I get that. But to not be interested in any of the events whatsoever, that's the part I don't understand.
I just don't know also how, because even when, you go any place right now and it's on the TVs. It's on the TVs. So I don't even know how you avoid that. Yeah, you just don't leave your house and you don't have cable or whatever to where you can't watch it. I don't know how you don't even accidentally and then get a little USA is on and want to glance up there and see what's happening.
Exactly.
I think there's got to be an age limit, though, I kind of feel like, with the Olympic athletes. You know, you see some snowboarders, they're like 40 years old, 37.
You're
like I don't know.
I thought you meant as far as the viewers.
To watch.
No, I meant the contestants. Even, look, I love hockey, as you know, but even the men's hockey, it's like, you guys are a bunch of pros. I'm not as into it as I was, I guess, before. I don't know. But like the skating, the luge, all that stuff, like how do you not, like that's the skiing. I mean, the skiing's unbelievable.
The moguls and
all of
what
it.
They
the jumps. I mean, come on, that's like the X Games. You don't like the X Games? Those are fun as heck. It's just out in the snow. I love, now that stuff's fun to watch.
Of course it is, and it's stuff that none of us can do. So that to me it becomes
who said
even
that?
cooler.
Did somebody say that?
I'm not going to mention names.
Really?
I'm not going to mention anyone in particular.
Jeez.
But I will say on Friday is when the quad god was competing in the figure skating.
Yeah.
And he fell multiple times, and that was a crushing blow.
Was he the one that had the breakdown, kind of? Like he said he got like stage fright or something? That guy?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. I know his name's like Ilya something, but... Yeah.
Oh, the blonde-haired kid?
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, I didn't know he fell.
Yeah, he fell twice during a couple
really?
routines.
Because he was winning golds before. He won a couple golds, didn't he already? Or at least one.
I don't know that part either.
Okay. Yeah, he's the one that does the backflips.
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
he did a backflip at the end of his routine, but like I said, he already
fell twice.
Wow. Well, his degree of difficulty was the highest. I know the one.
It was, but he wasn't performing those elements that he had needed to. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know why. I said, I'm not an expert in
the
this.
couples have been fun. There's a couple of them that are really fun to watch, man. They're really into it and flying around. And unbelievable.
And the Canadian curlers are cheating. So that's another story. They're cheating, yeah.
How do you cheat in curling?
Well, so I guess one of the things I learned is in curling, they officiate their own stuff. So like the players are the ones like they just kind of say, oh no, you can't do that or you whatever. I don't know the specifics of curling and what you get called for, and I don't know all of that. I've been learning, but I guess they kind of extra push the thing after it's landed. There's some videos of them zooming in of the finger kind of shoving it a little bit.
That ain't cool.
And the guys did it first, and they got in an argument. If you go on, like the two guys are kind of cussing each other out. And then the women did it. The Canadian women did it. And so it's like this whole thing. But I saw a video this morning, and it was like me getting mad at the Canadians curlers for cheating when I don't know the rules anyways. But you're still mad at them because it's clearly Twitter said they cheated. So you just believe it.
And the internet never lies.
Yeah.
That's right. That for sure. All right, let's say hello to the Frangie Show.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
Hayes, I'm guessing the best thing you watched all weekend was the Florida men's basketball team win on Saturday over Kentucky. What was the second best thing
Absolutely.
you watched?
I actually watched the hockey yesterday.
Okay.
And that was fun. We had a good time watching that. So it wasn't much of a game, but the U.S. won 5-1. But I'll give Germany's fans credit because they scored. I think it was already 5-0 or maybe it was 4-0. And they scored, and their fans went wild. And it was in the third period. It's like, but I appreciate the support. That's the Olympic spirit right there. But yeah, it was. I didn't watch any of the NBA All-Star game. I really didn't even watch much of the golf. But anyway, it was a great sports weekend. Great for Florida to beat Kentucky again. They only are, even with the win Saturday, like 43 and 111 all time against Kentucky. So anytime the Gators beat the Wildcats, it's cause for celebration. So yeah, we'll talk all about that coming up on the Frangie Show and get into some NFL topics as well.
Will you break down the Daytona 500?
We will not. I did not watch that either. But yeah, happy for Michael Jordan. What a cool accomplishment.
And JJ Redick.
Yeah, sure. And so, yeah, probably not a lot of probably not a lot of Daytona 500 breakdown coming up. So, if that's what you're hoping to hear, then you might want to get it from somewhere else between 4 to 6 today.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Hayes. Obviously, I made the joke about JJ Redick because Tyler Reddick was the driver.
We got it.
We know now. He might be my favorite driver. I don't know. Speaking of, so did you see the video too of Matthew Tkachuk kind of chirping? We were talking about him earlier, but he was like always the bridesmaid, never the bride. But it was even funnier because that guy played for the Oilers, who obviously the Panthers beat the Oilers in the Stanley Cup. Right. So he was just kind of chirping at him in the sense of like, you can't beat us in the Stanley Cup and you can't beat us as Germany either. And I was like, yes, bring that energy on.
That's great.
He
can back it up.
Oh, I love it.
Absolutely. And RJ, we didn't get to the NBA All-Star weekend, but how would you rate it?
Meh.
Okay. I'm glad I didn't watch then.
On a scale of 1 to 10, that was an eh.
Okay.
Oh, wow. How was the slam dunk? I didn't see that at all.
There were competitive moments, I will say, but I mean, why not just make this East versus West? Just keep it simple.
Yeah, no doubt.
Whatever.
Yep.
All right. So that'll do it for us today. For Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow, but don't go anywhere. The Frangie Show is next, so keep it right here. 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Gonna walk all over.